This particular meditation is called knowing where you are. Sometimes we also refer to it as starting where you are because it allows you to start with whatever is happening for you in your mind or body at this very moment on this very day. And it allows us to realize that we don't need any particular or special conditions to be happening in order for us to become mindful. So this makes it a very good choice as a meditation to use if you're new to the mindfulness practice. But in fact, even if you have many, many years of practice, this is an ideal meditation to use, particularly on a day when you might be very physically restless or mentally restless, or your mind might be full of thoughts and worries. This user-friendly way helps you ease into the moment with curiosity and acceptance, finding out where you are and looking at it with some loving attention. So before we begin, you might find a particularly comfortable position for yourself to be in right now. That can either be sitting up or perhaps lying down. Either position doesn't really matter. What matters is the particular attitude and quality of attention that we bring to the instruction. So as we begin this particular way of working, it's time to just take a little review to see if your body is in the position you would like to be in, and perhaps allowing yourself to make any adjustments that you need to make in order to become more physically comfortable. This meditation and way of working is almost like a journey that we'll be on together for a little while, with different stops along the way. And the first stop that we'll be making is trying as best as you can to turn all of your attention and putting your focus on how much thinking is going on for you right now. It might be something new that you're trying or perhaps difficult to figure out, but just easing into allowing your attention to notice how much thought is going on at this very moment. There might be a lot of thought going on, or there might be some silence or space between the thoughts. You might even notice whether the thoughts are very dense or very rapid, just cascading from one thought into another. Or you might be experiencing very few thoughts with a lot of silence and space between them. And if you're in a place today where there's not a lot of thoughts going on, there's no need to create any particular thoughts to look at. So just breathing and again looking around at how much thinking or how little thinking is happening. Or you might even notice a particular recurring thought that might have a particular worry or storyline to it. And as best as you can, allowing yourself to not enter into the storyline, but just letting the thought pass. And if there's a lot of thoughts going on for you today, just noticing if you would like it to be different. And even letting go of having it be different than it is. Beginning to accept and adjust it to just being with it as it is. So you're just taking a few minutes to luxuriously notice in the realm of thinking how much thinking or how little thinking is going on. And just being with your own experience. And we'll be moving along now on the journey to a new location, a new way of placing our attention and our awareness to the realm of our body temperature, allowing your mind to move towards any particular areas that might be hot or cold that stand out to you at this particular time. And if there's not a one particular type of temperature that's standing out, if you'd like, beginning with the top of your head and your scalp and allowing your attention to just move down to see if there are certain regions of temperature, for example, like hot forehead or cool face or cheeks, just moving down, just knowing how it is for you right now, just specifically in terms of body temperature. Moving down through your whole body, noticing arms and chest and back, hands and fingers, seeing if there's anything registering as hot or cool, or perhaps no temperature, and just note that too, that there's areas that might be neutral. And moving down through your legs and feet and toes. And it isn't about trying to change anything or have it be any different than it already is. It's just about knowing where you are, knowing how things are for you in this particular moment. And if there's any area that does register temperature, such as hot forehead or cold toes, seeing as best you can if you can let go of the label of hot or cold, and moving directly right to the sensations that are adding up to the label of cold, moving right to the sensations wherever they are, and just knowing them by how they feel. And the next stop on our journey as we move along and move away from areas of body temperature is beginning to tune into a new location. And that is the location that we call sleepy or awake. As best as you can right now, bringing full attention to whether you're feeling sleepy or awake. And where is it in your body that you know that you're sleepy, for example? What are the sensations and where are the sensations that are adding up to the idea that you're calling sleepy? Is it heavy cheeks, for example, or slow breathing? Tuning into all the sensations that are happening in this moment that are giving you the idea that you're sleepy or tired, or perhaps even awake. And whenever I become quiet, just trying to follow the instructions as best as you can, doing whatever the instructions were having you do before the silence. So tuning back into scanning through your body, and if any one of these four descriptions help you, see if you can locate any sensations along the line of sleepy, and if there's a different sensation that you call tired that's happening right now. What is the difference between sleepy and tired by how it feels? Or if you're feeling alert or awake, how do you know that? Just beginning to luxuriate in how things are for you right now without needing them to be different. Noticing if you want anything to be different than it is, and letting go of needing anything to be different. Letting go of wanting to push anything away. Even letting go of wanting to enter into whatever it is you're feeling right now. And just knowing where your mind is, and a little bit of a review of whether or not you're thinking or drifting. Knowing whether there's any body sensations like temperature, hot or cold or sleepy. And as we move on, we'll be moving to the next domain that we will turn our attention to. And that is the domain of the outer environment, so to speak. Tuning into everything that's going on around you in terms of how it sounds. What it is that you hear in terms of sounds or noises in the environment around you. Bringing full attention to listening. Opening to receiving sounds that are in the room or in the environment where you are, and just knowing what they are. Opening to including sounds that are outside of the building where you are. Or just a general environment sound if you're outside. And it's even okay to include any sounds within your body that you might become aware of. And when your mind is wandering or thinking or drifting, seeing if you can locate the first sound that is arriving, bringing your full attention to listening, to receiving. Dwelling in a state of open awareness to each moment as it unfolds, being with it exactly the way it is as it unfolds. There is a luxurious way about paying attention in this way, because all we have to do is get out of the way and just be curious about what's happening, allowing sounds to arrive. So we can even begin to equate listening with being receptive, being curious. We're just knowing how things are right now. And for example, if a motorcycle passed by, we might feel a startle sensation somewhere in our chest or our body. So listening for us also includes the subtle body changes and body sensations that we have in response to sound. So our sense of listening deepens to not only receiving sounds in the environment as they come in, but listening is also equally open to the body sensations we have in response to sound, and just knowing that. Being receptive, patiently waiting, and if there's any particular sounds that are occurring around you, seeing if you can notice if there's any particular storyline associated with the sound. Some story or meaning that you bring to the sound. And then you might notice that you have certain feelings related to the story or the meaning. And as best as you can, letting go of the stories and just coming back to listening. Just being present. Just showing up for yourself each moment. Allowing a commitment to form, to stay present with what's arriving, with how things are. Letting go of needing to change anything in your experience as you notice it. Letting go of having to enter into it or follow it. Just being with it the way it is. Body falling relaxed. Mind falling awake. Being with sounds near and far. Noticing the space between sounds. perhaps even listening so carefully to the nuances and subtleties that you even might notice silence within the sounds or the noises. Allowing your listening to become nuanced and subtle and attentive, patiently waiting for what's already here. A curiosity about not taking any moment for granted. And moving along now to include the next stop on our journey. And as if your attention was a satellite dish, and you're able to, if you will, turn the satellite dish downwards, noticing, receiving the sensations in your body that you call breathing. Specifically concentrating and tuning into the movements of your body, the movements of the breath, allowing sensations to arrive, noticing breathing already arriving. Just being with your breathing. Not so much thinking about it, but tuning into feeling it. Perhaps watching the rise and fall of your breath, the rise and fall of your belly or your chest or your back. And noticing where your attention is, where your attention has gone. And very gently, with non-resentment and letting go of impatience, but very patiently and wholeheartedly bringing your attention back to locating where breathing is arriving. Noticing the first place that you notice the sensation of breathing. And just riding it like a raft, up and down, in and out. And when you find that you've departed somewhere, just noticing where it is. Is it thinking, low-level drifting, boredom, sleeping, and just knowing where you are, knowing where you've gone, and willingly retrieving your mind and finding the sensations of your breathing, just allowing them to register. Finding your breathing over and over, showing up for yourself. Showing up for yourself, being with yourself, being with your breathing, just knowing how it is for you in this moment, in real time, knowing how it is for you right now. Staying with your breathing. And as you widen your awareness, noticing if there's any difference or not in the amount of thinking that's going on compared to when we first started the journey. And just knowing where you are right now, how much thinking is going on or how little thinking is going on. And are you able to notice any silence or spaces within the thinking or silence between the thoughts right now? And scanning your body for areas of temperature, knowing how it is, being with it the way that it is. And knowing whether you're sleepy or awake, not needing to push it away, not needing to enter into it, just knowing how it is. Fully receptive to the environment inside you, the sounds in the environment around you, and within it, knowing where your breathing is. And in a moment, we'll be bringing this journey to a conclusion for now. And if you would like to continue to sit or continue longer than we're doing right now, just feel free to do that. But if you're coming back with us now, knowing that we're finishing up this particular way of working, seeing if you can catch the first thought that you have about us finishing up for right now. It could be anything like, thank God it's over, to I wish it was longer, or anything in between, or none of those. But knowing that a thought that you might have about finishing might color how you feel about finishing. And easing back into becoming more fully present and aware of yourself in the environment. If it works for you, perhaps licking your lips or swallowing. And taking 2 or 3 very deliberate, large in-breaths and out-breaths. Being particularly slow on the out-breaths and feeling the in-breath and out-breath without pushing them or speeding them up. And when you're ready, moving your fingers and toes, luxuriously beginning to allow your awareness to notice the sensations in your body, particularly any areas that might need some extra attention from having been still so long, areas that might need to be moved, feeling free to move your arms and your legs. Begin to stretch or massage or rub anything that needs some extra attention right now. And even though the meditation is ending, allowing yourself to notice where the silence and the peace is as you go forward with the rest of your time.